what drove you to that idea of teaching? Had you felt that way for a long time, or is that something you developed as you've taught?
Well, I've been lucky enough to have a lot of really good educators in my life who really pointed out that the key to a good education was not whether or not you got an A in the class, but that if you could do something with it. So while I want my students to do well in the classroom, and that's important, it means nothing if there are no real world applications for it. So I want them to learn how to speak to and write to government officials, and I want them to learn to do these things because they need to see that education and English especially are not limited to just the classroom and just these that they think are very far away from their real life. It's not. It is part of their real life. So I think educators that I've had have done that, and then the further I've gotten in my education, the more I've seen students who think English exists in a composition classroom. That's it. They just have to get through it. And I want them to leave being like, no, this is my voice. I'm learning how to use my voice because that's much more important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was there a specific moment that you said that you had a lot of good teachers that did this for you? Was there a turning point in your mind where you realized that, oh, I thought this was for the classroom, but actually this is about real life?
I don't know that I ever fully thought it was just for the classroom. I grew up in a family that really valued education as a real world treasure rather than just like you need good grades, that's important. So I don't know that I ever thought of things as just for the classroom, but I had so many teachers that stressed go out and do something with your voice, or like if you were a good writer, well, you need to be doing something with it outside of that. And so from a young age I got to see the real world implications of things, and when I then later as a teacher had students that didn't see it, I think that was a point where it was like I really need to stress this to them because they don't get it the way that I was able to get it.
Yeah, so your parents are almost part of your teachers that you had.
Yeah. Well, my dad's family was immigrants to the country, and he got an education and a master's degree as like a big thing in that family. And my mom's family has been educated forever. Like even the women in the family have been educated when women weren't really educated because they were very privileged. So those two backgrounds came together of like my mom has a master's degree, my dad has a master's degree. Education is extremely valuable in my family and treasured in my family, and I was very lucky to have that like it's a part of who you should be as an educated person, and it has to do with who you are as an adult and how you interact with people. And so I was lucky to have that perspective that it wasn't like you get educated for the sake of a degree to get a job and that's it. It was a part of your being and a part of your legacy culturally, that you need to be educated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you say valuable.
Yeah.
You're not using that in the monetary sense.
Right.
So you have this value of education as for you as a person, and what was the process of realizing that you wanted to presumably provide that same type of education to other people?
Well, I mean, I stumbled into education. I didn't plan at any point on being a teacher, but when I was in my master's program or just finished it, I had been working in event planning and design and all that kind of stuff and journalism, and I loved it, but it wasn't stable all the time, and a friend recommended that I get a job at the charter school she worked at. And I was like, whatever, it'll pay the bills. And then just working with kids and getting to change their ideas of things completely changed what I thought was my direction, because I thought I was heading towards, no, I'm probably gonna move to LA or Manhattan and really try to pursue this other thing. And then it was like working with people and seeing a direct impact from the beginning of the year to the end, and seeing them get into college and giving them these opportunities that in a way, I mean, I valued them, but they were so normal to me that I didn't fully realize how rare they were to other people until I stepped into a classroom. And so that changed everything and made me want to keep giving that to kids.
And that change that you're talking about, does that go back to that idea of realizing not everyone saw education as a...
Right, and that not everyone had access to it, and not everyone woke up excited to learn every day, you know, and so to make things relevant to my students and make them interested in learning, to me it was like, okay, now I'm fostering a lifelong learner. And like that's the best kind of person to be. So creating those kinds of people was like such a reward. And seeing students who just wanted to get their high school diploma, that's all they wanted. But then by the end of, you know, a couple years of working together, they're like, yeah, I want to go on to college. I want to see what that's about. I want to explore different it was like, whoa, like I'm creating something here. You know, and it's not just about changing lives, but just changing the way people think about and interact with their world was a really cool and unique thing that, like, yeah, you can do with journalism and yeah, you can do with whatever, but you're seeing it right in front of you with someone who probably wouldn't have sought it out otherwise, and that's a really rare opportunity.
So could you dive into that process of how do you go about when you get a student on day one who's only focused on the extrinsic value of it?
Right.
What's the process there?
It's such a long process, and it's so individual that it's impossible to, like, there's not like a set thing, like first we will do this, and that's why I think every classroom is such a individualized experience. It depends on the population, it depends on the personalities in the room every single semester, every single year. My strategies change, my readings change, everything changes, because it's like I have to find a way to meet them where they are, to figure out what they're kind of interested, figure out where that pilot light is to really ignite it, you know what I mean? Like, you have to search, and that's a part of education I really enjoy, is sort of the game of it, of, okay, how can I reach these kids? Because it's difficult, and I've taught, you know, middle school up to grad school, and it's always searching for, like, how do I get them excited? How do I find out where they are and get them there? Which is fun. It's also really challenging, but I think it keeps things fresh, because you can't just rest on your laurels, because it's going to be, you might have it totally settled one semester, and then the next semester, oh man, it's like a whole other game that, like, you've never encountered that population before.
Yeah.
You know?
Keeps things interesting though, right?
Yeah, totally.
So could you give me one example of that, or like one student that might jump out at you as someone that, like, oh yeah, that person really grew into becoming a learner?
I mean, there have been so many, but I had one student, one of my first years, that she was just going to school to get she wanted to pass her GED. She didn't even want her diploma, and she just wanted that so that she could legally work for some company, because she just wanted to pay the bills. And it was like, I felt like she was already jaded, and she was only 16. And the way the school worked was very much, they worked independently, but I would sit with her a lot, and we would, you know, go over things that, if she was talking about, oh, I went to, you know, a festival this weekend, a cultural festival, and we'd be like, what was it? And like digging in deep into that. And I wonder what the origin of that is. And we'd research it together. And she was the first student I had that she went from just wanting to finish and get it done to she ended up applying for college and getting in, and she didn't know what she wanted to do, but she was excited to try out different classes. And it was like, you know, who knows what her success is going to be, but the fact that she wants it was so much more than what she wanted before. You know what I mean? So it was just cool to see, like, that just inspiring her, asking questions and wanting to learn more and dig more, changed her trajectory.
Yeah.
In whatever way. Like, who knows where she is now, but I assume wherever she is, she's asking questions, which is cool.
Yeah, yeah. I think I see why it's very individualized in that process as well, because you kind of took what she was giving you, you know, like the little ends, and then sort of let those be your way in.
Right. Because if I go in just like with my interests, then we're already done.
Yeah.
You know, like, everyone, here's what I'm interested in, and I got interested in this topic in my third year in grad school. It's like, now I'm setting up that, like, I'm a different kind of person than you. But if, like, a lot of times students think stuff isn't academic, like, students who are like, I really like video games, so, but it's like, but that is a cool academic subject. There's stuff to research, there's stories, there's all kinds of stuff. So finding out what interests them, meeting them where they are, and then showing them that there are academic questions around it and places to dig and places to learn more, I think is the key. to do it. But it's like it's so hard
Yeah.
because it's always changing it up. But it seems to work for the most part. But there will always be kids that are saying no.
Yeah.
And all you can do is show them your passion for learning and asking questions, and even when it comes to them wanting to learn more about them, and that's the best you can do.
Yeah, it's a very interesting connection. It's coming from the beginning of this interview to this point where you start talking about your personal interest in learning as this holistic process and trying to develop in that students. It really takes a lot of your own demonstrating that.
Yeah. Well, because if you go and listen, guys, you got to ask questions, but then you don't ask a question, that's a problem. So even with stuff like if they ask a question about grammar, and I'm not a huge grammar person, but if they ask, I'll say, I don't know, let's look that up, and just showing them that I ask questions still. Or if someone says something, I'm like, what a weird phrase, I wonder what the origin of that is. And have you guys ever wondered about why we say it's raining cats and dogs? And just those kinds of questions that have to do with conversation. And they're like, you're right, I've never wondered that. Or whatever it happens to be, just getting them to Google a